Congratulations, you finally made it to 4 p.m. You know what that means. Happy hour. It's time to kick back, relax, and dive into the world of sports with the Young and Norvelle Show. Whether you're catching up on the latest scores, analyzing the big plays, or gearing up for tonight's games, we've got you covered. So grab a cold one, settle in, and let's talk sports. Here they are, Patrick Young and Terry Norvelle.
Hey, here we go again. It's a hump day edition of the Young and Norvelle Show. Glad you're hanging out with us here as we give you 2 hours, 4 to 6 today. Happy hour show. Everybody should be in a happy mood. We hope to hear from Patrick Young. You know, he travels to Charlotte on Tuesdays and Wednesdays during college basketball season. You saw him on set last night. He'll be on set tonight during the, two halftime games, halftime of the first two games tonight, or the two games tonight on the SEC network. I hope Patrick does have a chance to check in, though. A lot of college basketball we want to talk about. Really good, important game was played last night. Good win for Kentucky as they got by Tennessee in Knoxville. Tough loss for the Vols. Boy, they've got trouble shooting the ball. We'll dive into that. Obviously, more Liam Cohen talk, Jaguars, as we welcome Zach Rothrock. Mr. Zach, I do not believe you have been on the show since the formal announcement, right? What was that, like Friday last week, or I don't know, when was that?
Yeah, or maybe I was here on Friday, the day of, potentially.
Or, I know what it was. I think it was Friday, but the presser and all was like at 3 o'clock, and we were getting started, and we really didn't. Yeah, that was what it was. So you've seen, you've heard the clips and the sound bites and things. I'll give you my take real quick. I don't know him, know of him, obviously. I know of him particularly. I've been in person in the stadium where he's called games a couple times against Florida and won the game. You know, Kentucky rolled in.
Oh, yeah.
Stopped that streak, and they beat Florida a couple times. Cohen, 39 years old, young guy. There's positives and there's negatives. I think there's red flags as well. Young guy. The league pretty much, it's a consensus. The league thinks he knows offensive football. I think that's pretty fair to say. He's considered a guy that knows what he's doing on the offensive side. Young. Some red flags, never been a head coach. And his press conference, I'm calling it likable goofy. He came across, there's dumbass goofy, and then there's likable goofy. You know what I mean? And a lot of times you've got one of those likable goofy guys, but they're good guy. He's just, he came across as kind of likable goofy. And I mean that in a loving way.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on it?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, honestly, there's actually a specific person who fits that exact description who I think that he is, and or he reminded me of, and that would be The Office's Michael Scott.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That
is beautiful.
During the press conference, the Duval, that's 100% a Michael Scott move, made in an attempt to connect with the fan base. But, I mean, that comparison is not necessarily all negative. If someone actually watched the show,
they love him.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So Michael Scott is a person who he excelled at being a salesperson, right? Which is almost kind of like the coaching equivalent of being an offensive coordinator to an extent. And he did that so well that he got promoted to being the regional manager. And he actually, despite coming across as I don't know what you want to call him, a doofus. And despite that, his branch was always successful.
Yeah.
And so, just because this guy is coming off and he's doing these things and people are seeing that he's awkward and he's kind of taking a lot of heat for it, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to fail to relate with the players and fail to be a good coach and fail to get things done. I mean, He obviously is very good at coaching. He was able to make Will Levis appear to be a draftable player and get him a spot. So, I mean, and he Baker Mayfield, he had one of the best season he's ever had under him. So, I mean, there's a lot of good things going. I mean, that's not the worst. I think his press conference was better than Adam Gase's with the Jets, at least, where he almost felt like he was seeing flies everywhere. So, I mean, I try to be mostly optimistic, but I mean, I do see the red flags.
Yeah, but your analogy or comparison to Michael Scott is great. If you watch The Office, Michael Scott is a lovable, a lovable kind of doofus, like you said.
Right. Yeah. That's just kind of the initial like what it comes across as. But I mean, he's obviously a brilliant guy when it comes to doing offensive play calling and things of that nature and play design. So, I mean, it's really going to come down to can he get a good GM and can that GM make the right players and get they need offensive
players.
linemen.
They need Jimmys
they
and
need
Joes.
big guys.
Obviously, they need Jimmys and Joes.
Right, exactly.
Another thing about Liam Cohen that I like, and Zach, I'm a lot older than you. I've done this a long time. I've seen a million coaches come in and go out in every sport and blah, 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 blah. One really refreshing thing about Cohen was at his presser, he was happy. He smiled. He laughed. Do you know how many coaches? Well, we're gonna be aggressive on offense. We're gonna do this. We're gonna, they almost think it's a negative, a shot at their manhood if they smile. So buttoned up and all. This guy was happy. He was obviously ecstatic. He's ahead of his timeline. If you looked at his notes, if he's a goal guy, a write your goals down guy. I don't think it said be a head coach in the NFL by 39. I mean, he's ahead of the game, loves his family, got a young little family, but he's happy, which is kind of cool. He's happy. He's not a curmudgeon and just beat up and media terrible, can't say anything, no, it was refreshing.
He's not Bill Belichick up there keeping everything as close to the vest as possible and all that. Yeah, right. I mean, and also not I feel like the Jaguars kind of had a guy like that 2 coaches ago when Urban Meyer. They had the guy that was kind of the standoffish type guy.
Yeah.
To me, I think that's about as good as he could have done. It's almost like he and Ben Johnson, to me, I think they're going to be compared almost in the way that you compare 2 quarterbacks that are taken at the top of the draft. Like how Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels are always going to be connected. I feel like
Walker and Hutchinson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same thing with them. Yeah, I feel like Ben Johnson and Liam Cohen, at least initially at the start of their careers, they're going to really be compared together. And so with that being the case, I think you got to be way more excited if you're the Jaguars today, right now, with your coaching hire than the Raiders are with Pete Carroll and then with the Cowboys are with Brian.
And if you're not, and if you're a Jaguar fan, and if you're not, well, this will get you excited because we now, with the coach named and in place, we now are officially in fluffy local Jaguar media season. This is where the Jaguars, no matter what happens in the draft, no matter what happens in free agency, if they do good, bad, the media from now on, and you can see it turned. Remember, the second half of the season just wrapped up.
Mm-hmm.
The local fluffy media, my colleagues, my buddies, I know them all, they got all pissed off. Remember that? The second half of the season, this guy's terrible. That guy. Those were the guys that you were saying were going to be great in May and June and July, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, their anger's over. They've put last season to bed. They were mad as hell the second half. They were mad as hell waiting on the coach to be named. Now that the coach is named, you can see it. Oh, there were rainbows. There were rainbows when I was driving it. Rainbows and little what do you call the thing with the horns?
Unicorn?
Unicorns flying and with wings.
I'll see that.
Oh, they're out there. They're out there. Now all my brethren, all my colleagues, oh man, everything's sugar and spice. Sugar. Fans, make up your own mind. You've been, what's the word? You've been hosed, I don't know, tricked, bamboozled year after year. And I'm not saying every year they're going to be bad. But the media, the local fluffy media, God almighty. Last year was a perfect example. There was no way that team was going to be good with that. After the draft and after free agency, I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, and I don't want to be a sunshine pumper for
sure. You are.
No, but a couple of things to be excited about is you got an offensive-minded head coach. That's what all 32 teams want at this point. I think ideally they want an offensive-minded head coach.
Doug Peterson.
Yeah, you just had that. I know. You just had it. I know. And you got Brian Thomas Jr. I think that he, by all accounts, he's a home run hit. And so you got a guy that's going to know how to move him around. So I think that at the very least, you're going to finally get a definitive answer on, is Trevor Lawrence the guy, or did we sink $300 million in the wrong guy? And I think it's good to be able to you're going to be able to either see that you got it, or you're going to be able to rip the Band-Aid off and start.
If he plays the bulk of the season, Lawrence, he'll be wrapping up his 5th year. I know there's been coaches in and out, blah, blah. 5 years in the league, I can put my naked eye on a player and go, yay or nay, yay or nay. It'll be 5th year. Let's can we dial up? I think Brent Beaird's like knocking on the door.
He is.
No. There he is. Ho, Brent Beaird.
Greetings to both of you. Our show mascot. As soon as he heard your voice, Terry, made an appearance.
Chino the cat somewhere wandering around. Right. First of all, let me say something, Brent. You look like you got a fresh, tight haircut.
I did.
You look fast now, man. You should go run the 40 right now with that fresh haircut, because you're fast when you have a haircut.
Now, look, if I'm going to be on the Young and Norvelle show, you've got to look sharp. So that's
sharp, man. I can't lie. Okay? You're looking good.
So but I was interested in your conversation with Zach with a lot of interest. So look, I've heard a lot of the same things you have from different fans. Well, this is an offensive guy. That's what we need, even though we just had one. Can you do anything with Trevor? He's maybe a little bit too country for me. He needs to be a little bit more polished.
If Brent Beaird's calling you country, holy cow! Brent Beaird's calling him country.
Listen, I talk like the King's English now compared to when I first started in the radio.
Yes, you do.
But you know that more than anybody does just about. So, but look, I mean, Terry, at this point, he's just playing with house money, isn't he? I mean,
sure.
It's his first head coaching job. If it doesn't work out, he'll go back to being a coordinator somewhere. Or in this league, you just wait 5 days and somebody else will hire you if you're very good or not. So
he's got two complete full 17-game seasons to try to get this thing righted. I don't know if it'll take that long. It may, but I don't think he gets judged. I mean, they can go 4-13 next year, and I think he's fine going into year two. Probably gets to finish that second year, and then off we go. Zach, what did I say? He's like, and Brent, do you buy what I'm saying? I've been calling it. He's likable. What did I say? Goofy, right? He comes off likable goofy. Mm-hmm. Not, and I'm not being mean, but there's also dumbass goofy. He's not that. He's likable goofy. And we in our cliques, when we were younger, we all had cliques, 5 or 6 guys hung around, that's your clique, man. That's your group. We all had generally in our clique, that fifth guy was kind of the goofy guy. But you know what? He's our guy though. He's all right. Well, yeah. He's all right.
The thing you don't want to be, Terry, is mean goofy.
No, you don't want to be mean goofy.
No. That's what you don't. And Zach said it well.
That guy's called a prisoner. You call that guy a prisoner. He goes to jail.
And what Zach said is you also don't want to be in a situation like Bill Belichick. And look, if I was Belichick, he's out of the NFL. This is a new start for him. He's got a girlfriend, Terry, that's a third of his age.
I think so.
That's probably younger than our daughters are.
Yeah.
So Bill, smile a little bit and have some fun and enjoy yourself, right?
Yeah, and he's loosened up a little bit. He's not a lot, but he has. The TV helped him a little bit, and he has a little bit. We've got a lot to do. Brent's going to be with us basically the whole show, hopefully. Dr. Bates at 5 o'clock. Boy, Micah Hand logged in. We want to talk to him about, this guy, less than a year, there's serious talk that he can get back on the court. Some other injuries in and around sports. And I want to talk to him about HIPAA a little bit. We'll keep the Jaguar talk going. SEC basketball from last night. I want to get into that, Brent. And Brent, and also want to get into. I was pleasantly surprised that several things jumped out at me at the ACC football reveal. There's several things that I went, whoa, and I've got some notes. I want to go over that real quick, and we can come back to this because I want to get to that ACC schedule. There's one thing, and it's pretty much now an epidemic, and I'm being serious, in college basketball. There's one thing that is really choking the life out of college basketball right now, and they've got to do something with it. The reviews. There are way too many reviews. My God. Too many reviews. They've got to. You can't go to. You can't go to everything, right?
No.
Some of the calls just got to be the calls. Am I right about this? The reviews are choking college basketball.
Look, I'm going to know that in the note package that we share, and it will break it down more as the show goes on. These games, and I stayed up last night watching the A&M game.
I did not. I couldn't make
it. And I get that. But Terry, I mean, brother, the last minute and 30 seconds of that game probably took 20 minutes to play.
It was tough.
It was a reviews. And look, I've got a friend who does some play-by-play in some major conferences. He told me something that the other day that makes a lot of sense. He said the problem is these coaches, and tell me if you agree, these coaches want to control every dribble.
Mm-hmm.
And because they want to control every dribble, when you're at a close game, in the last 2 minutes, the other team scores, well, we've got to take a timeout. We've got to discuss thoroughly the defensive set for this thing. And then their team scores, and then they've got to call another timeout for. And Terry, the point is, does it ever end? And what can we do to cut this off?
I hope smarter people than me, can figure it out. But man, the reviews are there. Man, and you watch a game with Pat Adams refereeing, forget it. He gets so much airtime on that little microphone. He needs a SAG card. I mean, he needs a Hollywood SAG card. He gets so much. He's an actor now. It's amazing you said that. Here's my notes from today. I'll turn these to the camera. You can't read my writing, but right here, second thing I wanted to talk about, reviews are choking the life out of college basketball. Underneath that, team huddles. I want to talk about that. Every team huddles up in college. I don't know what they talk about. And then right next to that, coaches scream every trip. Have you noticed college? And these are the next level to professional basketball. Yes. These guys are seasoned basketball players. Watch a college basketball game. The coaches act like the players have no idea what they're doing on the court. I mean, they are up almost every game. Both coaches, every possession are, screaming and pointing and come here, go there. Do they not? They are seasoned 4- and 5-star basketball players. If I'm watching the games, they're good games. Brent, I don't get it. They coach every millisecond of the game, screaming and yelling. And then, I know they're not the NBA, but the NBA goes out and just runs their stuff. They know how to play. The college guys know how to play. What do they do in practice? What are they doing in practice?
Well, here's my point to that. If you've been in practice and meetings the whole week, and haven't you taught these guys what to do? And by the time you get to the game, at some point, don't you just need to let them play?
I'm going to ruin it for a lot of you folks watching. The next time you start watching college basketball, it might be tonight, might be this weekend. I'm going to ruin it for you, but watch. I'm going to tell you. It's going to be in the back of your mind going, this is what Terry, when you're watching Florida play Saturday, any good game, okay, any good game that you want to watch, when you're watching the game, the coaches will basically both be up, standing up most of the game, screaming, pointing. You're going to follow that. And then every time there's a dead ball, every time play stops.
Yes.
I don't know. I wish Pat was here to tell me. Both teams always in college huddle up. 5 of them, and they huddle up for 4 seconds. But Brent, they do it 150 times per game. What are they talking about?
Yeah.
What are they freaking talking about? 150 times.
Yeah. I mean, you think about that. Now, a lot of our folks will have to Google this. Do you remember John Wooden sitting on the sidelines, barely ever moved, barely ever raised his voice? And I understand he was on the officials a lot more than we will ever realize.
Yeah.
But you look back in a guy like Wooden, who is arguably the greatest coach to ever play and coach in basketball, and what you see today with these guys. Do you remember seeing that out of Wooden at all?
If you made a statue, and there are many statues made of him, and if you truly made a statue of John Wooden during a game, you would make him with his program. He always had a program folded up.
Yes.
He's rolled up like a playbill, but it was his program. He had it rolled up, and he was sitting on the bench.
That's right.
He was sitting on the bench.
Yes.
And when asked about that, he said, we did all of our work in practice. The game is the time to enact what we did. And if we aren't ready, we aren't ready. And we screwed that up in practice. But my God, college basketball, the coaches, they act like they're coaching 4-year-olds
Yeah.
And they act like they're coaching teams. Mm-hmm. You watch the little guys play basketball. It's like ants on a sugar cube. Yeah, that's what they act like. It's like these guys are a bunch of these guys will be playing in the NBA next year, but they're acting like they don't know diddly from squat. I mean, watch these college coaches.
But again, what you're seeing creep in here is what we were used to. Do you remember these days? We used to have basketball games. You can almost count on the game being over after either 2 hours or 2 hours and 5 minutes. A lone game would be 2 hours and 10 minutes. Now, last night, last night the A&M game started at 9. I'm sitting in my recliner at 11:37, and they're still playing.
Yeah. And I mean, nobody in college basketball loves to drag a game out more than Buzz Williams. I mean, he's a grind it coach, and that doesn't surprise me at all.
But see, real quick, one thing you said, we need to get into this a little further, is these officials. And if you're official watching, I'm sorry, but we are in a time now. These officials want as much airtime as the players and the coaches do.
It appears that way. And now they've got the little microphone and the camera fixed. Yeah. They like to run over there, and then they get to say, "Oh my God, it is tough sledding watching a big time Power 4 divisional basketball game. It's hard to watch right now. Man, do they stop it. All right, let's take a break here in hour number 1 on a Wednesday. I want to get back. Brent, you and I haven't visited. I took a lot of stuff away from the ACC football schedule reveal and a lot of stuff away from Florida State's schedule and Miami's schedule.
I agree.
Not to mention a couple of others. We'll look at that at some point here in the first hour. Maybe we can squeeze in Bronny James. I found out what happened with Bronny James. He got called up to the big boys last night, and it wasn't pretty. I think I found out that there was a mistake involved. We'll kick that around on the other side. One segment down, a long way to go. We take it to 6 o'clock right here on the Young and Norvelle Show on Action Sports Jags.
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
The Action Sports Jax 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Weber, and I'm here to teach you a nice 3-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming from the Brent and Austin Show every weekday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News Jax app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports Jax 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device. You're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News Jax Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Let's get right back into it. Brent Beaird joining me, Terry Norvelle, on a Wednesday edition, the Young and Norvelle Show on Action Sports Jax. Patrick Young may or may not check in. He's traveling, obviously, in Charlotte as he does during basketball season on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Brent, a lot of different stuff to get to. I want to talk about North Carolina and the SEC. You got something on that, but I could live with the college football national championship game being played this Saturday or this Sunday. I know it's deep into, but there's a little bit of talk I've heard that maybe this is where it needs to land. There's nothing the NFL takes the week off before the Super Bowl. College guys could play it Saturday night or Sunday night. That is a lot better option than Monday.
No doubt. We talked about this for 20 years at least.
Yeah.
And now I will say this: the problem with that is they've got these dates for the championship sites set. 20, 26, 27, 28, 29, and every one of them are on Monday. Yeah. Now they could, but look, Terry, I'm telling you, you remember back in 2020 when they had to make a schedule up for everybody to play in about 2 weeks. Well, they did it.
Did it like that,
and it happened.
Did it like that? Yep.
The more, yes, if we did it on Monday, off Monday, that would be the way to go.
What are you hearing, North Carolina and the SEC? Is there a little flirtation? And this is new to me.
I got a call, basically on the way to set up for the show from a friend who's a consultant for a lot of people. And that's the first thing he said to me. He said, "Are you aware of this kind of a push from North Carolina about the SEC?" Now, this is not going to happen tomorrow, but the reality is and I've seen this around a couple of places, and no one's latched onto it because they're too involved with some other stuff. Is basically still a strong desire on both parties for North Carolina to come over to the SEC.
I think that would be the program I would handpick out of the whole country. If I could handpick one more program to go into the SEC, you'd obviously want to do it with an even number probably. But if I could pick one, it'd be North Carolina. I think they check every box, including being a Southern, Southern located. Obviously, you could say, well, Terry, what about Ohio State or Michigan? Well, that's not legit. If I could handpick one program out there, it'd be North Carolina, and I think they would fit like a glove.
Now, you and I are usually pretty good about reading between the lines here. Could some of this be Belichick's presence?
Could be.
And they want to strike when the iron is hot?
Yeah, could be. I was thinking that as well. Could we get it done quick enough to where Belichick makes a trip to Gainesville and Athens and Tuscaloosa? Wouldn't that be great? Here comes Bill Belichick rolling in.
Oh, yeah.
Tuscaloosa, Athens, Gainesville.
But here's the thing with North Carolina. but obviously you got the basketball deal, even though they're not very good this year. We know that ain't gonna last forever by any stretch of the imagination. They're mediocre in football.
Yeah.
But with a little bit of help, I think they could be better.
Who knows what the SEC does for them in football?
Well, there's no telling.
Yeah.
They're
great in women's sports. They're great in women's sports. They're great academically. They wouldn't take a back seat in baseball. I mean, they would get in there. They go to Omaha all the time, and they compete. So, North Carolina's got that's deep Southern money. That is, and we've talked about the two big conferences, the SEC and the Big Ten. They've got the universities, and I know Ohio State has fun saying that, but there's generally one big boy university in every state.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
North Carolina is that.
It is.
It is that. Florida is that. Alabama is that. Georgia is that.
And people have forgotten this. Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, was actually asked about North Carolina, and Sankey, in a pretty transparent moment, said, "Well, he gave all the all the applause for it that you would give with all the things that you just mentioned." But then he said something interesting. He said, "But there are a lot of in-state political things that are going on there that we need those things to straighten themselves out."
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what all that means, but that is interesting to think about. Now, and you're still one of the better business people that I know, and you've thought about this, I'm sure. And there are a couple of things to this. Besides the North Carolina money, I'm just telling you, the presidents and the chancellors love this situation. North Carolina is a AAU school.
Yes.
They're that elite academic school that would go over well with the chancellors and the presidents.
They get no pushback if it's just a sports factory. It's no. They can throw that academic resume up there. North Carolina can swing with a lot of big boys with that academic.
And the other thing is what might be combined with this, and I'm just going out of logic here, is who else will come with them? Somebody's coming with them.
You're not going to bring one in.
And Terry, the SEC wants to get in that Virginia, D.C. area.
Sure they do.
Whereas that is an incredibly talented area where college and NFL players come out of there by the droves.
And money being equal, and this is something we could ask Dr. Bates if it comes up. Money being equal, and it's pretty much equal. SEC, Big Ten, Big Bad Maryland has always, to me, felt awkward in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'd probably want to go ahead and play in this neighborhood, and the money's the same. Let's while we got some time, Brent, let's go over this ACC football release. The schedule was released, and we knew a lot, but there was a lot that came out, and the dates came out. I thought it was very, very interesting. Let's start with Florida State. First thing that grabbed me with Florida State's schedule, 2 more Friday night games. Now, they're both on the road, so FSU really got boondoggled into it, right? The home team says, we're going to move our game. But FSU plays 2 Friday night games. Last year, didn't they have 3 games not on Saturday? I think they did.
Yes, they did.
Sunday, they had a Thursday and a Friday, I think.
And a Monday. You remember the
I'm sorry, the Monday.
Yeah, in that too. Now, 5 of their first 6 games are at home.
Yeah.
Harry, you remember Auburn did this foolishness last year.
Yeah.
And having every September game at home, and obviously with the stadium being built, that's going to really help them. Would you necessarily want that?
Man, I think if you're really good, but man, if you're average to maybe not even quite average, there's going to be a point in that second half of the season where, man, it'd be nice to go marching back home, catch your breath, put your bags up.
Right.
But if you burn all your games early, man, that could be a long back half of the season if you're struggling.
The last 6 games of the year, 2 home games.
Yeah, how about that?
That's what you're talking about.
But yeah, I know FSU fans are going to go, gosh darn it, 2 more non-Saturday games. But again, they are at Virginia and at NC State. So I don't think the visiting team has a lot to say, just like if FSU wanted, if they got flirted with somebody and they could say, or their boosters say, yeah, we like it. Their president, let's move a game. You got to go. You talked about FSU being top heavy with home games. Did you see where Miami, they leave the state like once, twice all year or something ungodly? They're in the state of Florida. How about Miami and Notre Dame opening up?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a Sunday, August 31, and that game's not always a great game. I love that game. I love that.
I do too.
And did you see Miami plays Notre Dame in Florida in their first 4 games out of the gate?
Yeah.
Both at home, though, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, absolutely. And a couple other schedules that we need to look at. The Notre Dame schedule.
I got that here, yeah.
As you just said, they play at Miami. What intrigues me is, Terry, they've got a week off, and then they host A&M.
Yeah.
And then a couple weeks after that, they go to Arkansas. And then did you notice this? Speaking of playoffs here, then they've got Boise State.
I did. I've got that right from yesterday. I've got it. They're big games to me. And I ripped Notre Dame. They did not have a playoff-worthy schedule last year. It was terrible. Well, they've beefed it up. I mean, they've got 5 or so good games now. They had a terrible schedule. At Miami for Notre Dame, Texas A&M in South Bend, at Arkansas. That's a very rare game. That's a dangerous game. Pittman's been there a long time. They'll be competitive. Boise State and USC, if USC is good. Good for Notre Dame. Their schedule has taken an uptick, and they needed to.
It has. And look, if you don't have a championship game to play in, conference championship game, you better beef up that schedule.
Yeah,
a little bit. Terry, did you see the North Carolina schedule?
Yeah, go over it. Yeah.
9 of the 12 games will be played in the state of North Carolina.
How about that? Yeah, that's kind of like what Miami's got. Yeah, they're a bunch in the state of Florida. Hey, going back to FSU, they've got a nasty 4 games that it's going to be hard to win any of them, so they need to win those other games, a bunch of them. But Alabama in Tallahassee, and this is not in order, I don't think, but here's FSU's 4 games. Alabama in Tallahassee, at Clemson, at Florida, at Miami. Ouch, ouch, and ouch. And the problem is they probably won't win any of those games, maybe one, but probably none, Brent. The problem with FSU is those other games, NC State, Wake Forest, Boston College, on and on, they don't beat them consistently. They're losing 2 or 3 to those guys, and then they're losing their 4 to the big boys, and they look up and they've got 7 or 8 losses.
Look, at this point, Terry, are they going to be that much better than they were last year?
I don't think so. A couple more schedules to look at. Clemson is interesting.
Yeah.
They'll go to Dallas in a rematch of the ACC championship game at SMU, LSU, at Georgia Tech, and out at South Carolina. So that's a decent little foursome right there for Clemson, don't you think?
And that LSU game is the opener.
And that is the opener. Another thing that jumped out at me, I thought it was kind of cool. I think Georgia Tech's going to be good for the next couple of years.
Yeah,
I think they're on an uptick. They've got a great PR game that they probably are going to win. They open up at Colorado, and it looks like Deion's going back. So there's going to be a lot of, what's Deion's team look like without the boys, right?
Yeah,
that's a nice game for Georgia Tech to get some PR. Georgia Tech plays Clemson and Georgia on Friday night, and that they've done that before, right? They played Georgia.
Well, here's my question. Do you like that Tech and Georgia game on Black Friday?
Not really.
I tell you what, it was something else last year.
It really was.
Frankly. So, and Terry, that game also is going to be in Mercedes.
Yes.
Between Georgia Tech and Georgia,
because that's a Georgia Tech home game, I think.
Yeah.
And they said let's put it in the big stadium. They negotiated a bigger cut, I'm sure, because it's their home game.
Yeah, you better believe it. Absolutely.
But they'll get more. Georgia Tech's got a quaint little stadium that seats about 48,000.
Yeah.
They go play that around the corner in Atlanta, and pack 75,000, a lot more money. One other ACC schedule stood out to me, Brent, and then we can get to another topic. I want to get to before the top of the hour. Let's make sure we try to get to and we'll probably take it to the top. Tennessee, Kentucky from last year. How about Stanford's schedule? And I don't know if you peeked at this thing. I don't know the mileage yet, and this is a story in the summer that always comes out. This team is going to travel 8,000 miles, right? Mm-hmm. Stanford's got to be there. They got to win this or right there. Here are some of Stanford's road games. And I know Stanford is in California, but Hawaii is still a long trip down that ocean,
Absolutely
right?
It is.
During the regular season, Stanford travels to at Hawaii, at Virginia, so that's coast to coast, basically, right? That's West Coast to East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
At SMU, that's halfway across the country.
Yeah.
At Miami, you can't get much more from California to way down to Miami. At North Carolina, which is basically West Coast to West Coast. That is some travel miles, my man.
Sure is. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And listen, I'll throw one more in here, and that's Syracuse.
What do you got?
They start the season with Tennessee and Atlanta.
Nice game.
Then they go to Notre Dame. They're at Notre Dame. They're at Notre Dame. They're at Clemson. They're at Miami. They're at SMU, and they're at Georgia Tech.
Ooh, that's rough.
Terry, do you fire your AD after that?
Man, I'll tell you one thing. They're going to win a couple of those games.
They sure will.
That Fran Brown's done a nice job.
Yeah.
He's done a nice job off the Kirby tree. Brent, last night, obviously, there were a couple games. We're in that period where 3 or 4 programs in the SEC have the midweek off. It's just the way the schedule works. So we got teams that aren't playing. Florida doesn't play a midweek game this week. The marquee game of the midweek, Kentucky at Tennessee. Kentucky wins the game. Good road win that snapped a 2-game losing streak. That could have been a 3-game losing streak for Kentucky.
It could have.
Really good win for Kentucky. But my God, Tennessee, I'm comfortable saying Tennessee is the worst shooting team in the country. If they could make a couple of shots. Brent, did you see the numbers? Tennessee last night, 11 of 45 from behind the arc. 11 of 45.
Right.
They were that's 24% on 45 shots. 24%. They were for the game 25 of 72, 34%. Kentucky, on the other hand, from the field, 50%, 25 of 50. From three-point land, 50%, 12 of 24. So for the game, they shot 50% across the board. Tennessee can't throw it in the ocean, my man.
Yeah, and Terry, isn't that their second straight loss and 3 out of their last 4?
They've lost 3 out of the last 4, yeah.
Yeah.
But second straight, I think, yeah.
But you can't convince people, and you can't convince us that and say, that Tennessee is still a good basketball team. But see, your point's a good one. They're like 3 in the country in efficiency defense, but their problem with Rick Barnes over the last several years. Now, wasn't that bad last year because they had Connect, remember?
Yeah, he bailed them out a lot, yeah.
Yeah, but see, the problem with Tennessee is they absolutely can't throw it in the ocean.
They cannot. And if you're Todd Golden in Florida, you're holding your breath right now going, man, I hope they have one more game where they can't drop it in the ocean because if it turns and those shots start falling for Tennessee, they're going to be a handful. Florida plays at Tennessee Saturday. Man, I've watched obviously the full Florida-Tennessee game, and I've caught Tennessee 4 or 5 other games where I've watched just about, and every time I watch them, it's painful. They cannot make a three-point shot. And, buddy, they'll hoist them. They keep hoisting them.
Now, give me a 1 to 10 reaction here, or negative reaction here. Cal comes back to Kentucky Saturday. Will they boo him a little bit?
Oh,
will they appreciate what he's done? How will the Wildcat crowd react to that, Terry?
I'm not the expert, but I think he gets booed in Lexington unmercifully. Yeah. And I'm not so sure every time he's going to get booed when he comes out on the court first time. When you go into warm-ups and come out for your official time before the national anthem, he's going to get booed.
Sure.
When they announced the Kentucky starting lineup, which they do, and coached by Arkansas starting lineup, coached by Cal, he's going to get booed. And I think every time he rants and raves on the sideline, they're going to be. I think he's going to get just booed unmercifully.
But listen, here's the reality of it, though. Now think about when Cal was there last year offensively. And think about with Pope here offensively. Terry, they're a much, much better offensive team this year, aren't they? Than they were last year under Cal. That you said yourself the other day, and I agree with that. They got stale in Lexington under Cal.
Really did. And I don't know if it's anybody's fault, the team, the administration,
it just happens.
The fan base, or Cal, but it does happen. But yeah, Calipari's never been an X's and O's guy. He's never going to win a game on the chalkboard during a timeout. That's just his offense. And Patrick said this all year. He goes, man, Pope's offense is much more player friendly, fan friendly. Cal has won the majority of his ball games by putting great athletes out and saying, just go play. If you miss. If you miss, you're athletic enough to get your rebound. If you get a rebound, you're athletic to outrun the other team to the other end. It's Cal's offense is a lot what I say all the time. It's a bunch of ants on a sugar cube, kind of,
Yeah, it is.
Pope's team's fun to watch.
Hey, and listen, if Zach's listening, Terry, do you know any team in basketball that's 0-8 in the conference? But you'd be scared to death to play them on any given night?
Yeah, I thought they might give Georgia something, South Carolina, and 0-8. It's tough, and Zach may know this. I was watching some of that. That was a must-win for Georgia, by the way. They had to win that game. And there was a point where South Carolina was making a little run at them, and that would have been an ugly loss in Athens. But Zach, I'm not sure. Is that team I've watched? South Carolina men's basketball, is that their varsity or JV, or do you know? Is that might be their JV?
That is
that's the varsity.
Not the best, just the best that we can find at the moment.
Do they want any part of running with the girls? Like if the girls are wrapping up practice in Colonial Life, and the men are walking in to start practice, if the girls said, "Hey, we're fine. You want to run a little bit?"
I think they might with Cower and Hod potentially. Maybe.
I'll say this. I'll say this, Zach. If they've got another player, or if they can develop another player with the close games that they've had, they could easily be 4-4 instead of 0-8. Am I wrong with that?
Stop it.
Yeah, they need better guard play. They turn the ball over far too often from the guards, point guard in particular. So yeah, I mean they got good bigs. They got solid bigs. It's just
they do.
But I mean, they're having the SEC is a monster basketball conference right now.
It's ridiculous.
They really are. So I mean. That's just kind of where they lie. They're just not up to par with the rest of the conference.
This is not the year to be rebuilding in the SEC.
Definitely not.
This is not the year, and I think it's going to be good for a while. But this is as good a year. I forget March Madness. I'm talking regular season. I don't remember. Now there's 2 more teams. There's technically 4 more teams because for years there were only 10 in the SEC. But, Brent, this is the best SEC year I've ever seen, top to bottom, quality teams.
And listen, let me give you something here. Y'all tell me what Florida's record is going to be after the next 4 games. At Tennessee, Vandy at home, at Auburn, and at Mississippi State. Will they do well? Will they be 2-2 after that?
I would take 2-2 and run home.
Absolutely.
And lock the front door. Run home.
Yeah, Tennessee's going to be looking for revenge after the big 30-point
Auburn. Mississippi State plays the grinding style that Texas A&M plays, and Mississippi State's been ranked all year. They're good.
Yeah.
And Vanderbilt's going to the tournament, boys.
They are.
They've got good wins, including they just went back-to-back Kentucky, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
They just beat them back-to-back.
Yeah.
I would take 2-2 in a heartbeat.
No doubt.
I think Todd Golden was. And then they've got 4 winnables. If I remember their schedule, they've got 4 decent. Guys, I threw this out yesterday. Zach, you were, that was Tuesday. You weren't in. And Brent, you were off. I don't know if I've thrown this in before. But I can see this coming, and this is a bit of a compliment to your conference, even though it's going to be knocking teams out. I see March Madness coming up where the SEC is going to get about 12 teams in. Now, you're talking 12 out of 64, okay? And of those 12, they're going to be some pretty high seeds, right? Meaning there's a very good chance the SEC moves on, 9, 10 of the 12, they win their first 2 games, right? They're going to be good seeds. They're going to be seeded there may be a 1. There's going to be a 2, maybe 2 2s, a 3, a 3, a 4. They're high seeds. So those high seeds are going to win most of their first 2 games, right?
Right.
With that said, that field gets knocked down. Your second weekend, you're going to have about 9, maybe 10 SEC teams still playing, and there's only 32. You're going to have, I bet you're going to have 2, maybe 3 games in March Madness coming up where SEC knocks out SEC, and that is a good thing, I think. You can't avoid it. If you have 9 teams left in 32, you're going to have round of 16. You're going to have Alabama maybe knocking heads with Mississippi State.
Yeah, so I was actually curious. So the all-time record was actually set last year. The ACC had 4 teams in the Sweet 16. So do you think the SEC has a chance to match or beat that?
Damn sure got a chance.
Yeah, I mean that'd be an incredible. Yeah,
you
get 5 of 6 of the final 16. That's making a pretty big statement.
And the first when they set the field, they do go to great lengths. They don't want conference matchups game 1. You don't want Florida opening up with the 12th team that made it in the. You don't want Florida making it in with Vanderbilt, or whoever the 12th. But you get past that first weekend, there's not a lot of control.
No.
You know what I mean? There's not a lot of control.
And listen, I've got the net rankings here, the RPI thing they go by. In the top 24 teams, you've got 9 SEC teams.
Wow. That
9.
Is something. That is really something. But you're going to see that. And again, I hate, because I'm an SEC guy like all you guys are. And you're going to hate to see when Auburn in the Sweet 16 knocks out Ole Miss. But there's a compliment in there. And it's going to happen, I think, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way to avoid it, Ooh.
No. Yeah, by that round it would be inevitable.
Yeah. You start running 9 of 32, they're going to be playing in the same neighborhood, right? They're going to be playing in the same neighborhood. And I think, what's the record? There has been at least, I know the Big East did it one year. The SEC, I don't know, did it. I don't know if the ACC. There's been a year where 3 of the final 4 teams are from one conference. I know the Big East did it one year with Georgetown, St. John's, and maybe Villanova.
Yeah.
3 of the final 4. But you got to get real lucky with where your teams get sent as well.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, I could see 3 in the final 8. Could see 2 in the final 4. Something. I tell you what, Auburn's going to have to be careful. As good as Auburn is, and talking to some Alabama beat writers, they have said Auburn deserves to be number 1.
Agreed.
But the reality is, Terry, Auburn's had about 4 games to where they very easily could have lost.
Yeah. Boy, I was impressed with how advanced Broom was the other day. He went for 16 and 13, and you were told he was going to have limited minutes. Man, he played well coming out of that. He played well coming out of that injury, didn't he?
Oh yeah. There's no doubt about that. But look, you're going to have a slew of quad 1 games, and here's the thing: people need to get used to. It's like this Florida, the schedule we just mentioned. On the next 4, 2 and 2 is going to be good to get through that situation. So our reality is we're going to have some slides with some of these major SEC teams. But look, it really doesn't make any difference because their strength of schedule and all that's going to save them regardless.
Yeah, totally. Auburn is sitting undefeated, right, in the SEC.
Yeah.
They've got 1 loss. They lost to what? Duke?
Right.
Yeah, Duke at Duke, by the way.
Yes.
Duke at Duke. By the way, Kentucky has beat Duke. That tells you a little bit about the conference. But so Auburn is sitting undefeated in the SEC, and I think the only winless is South Carolina, right?
Yeah.
They're the only winless. it wouldn't surprise me, staying with Auburn first, and I'm going to do the old tried and true. What better odds, go over or undefeated? You know, what are the better odds? It wouldn't surprise me if Auburn. I don't think they go undefeated. It wouldn't surprise me if when we wrap up the regular season, one of Auburn's losses in conference is to one of the an LSU gets them.
Yeah.
One of those sleepwalk.
Right.
Maybe Georgia gets them that might sneak into the tournament. You know what I mean? One of those bottom end of an Oklahoma gets them one sleepy night where, and I think one of the big boys gets them too, probably.
To Terry, but by the way, Jay Billis of ESPN made this statement yesterday. He said it's going to be harder to win the SEC tournament than it is the NCAA tournament.
Great statement. I've heard that statement before around some of the great ACC years and Big East way back, but that is a great statement. And frankly, I think it's true. And I'll throw an addendum. If you're a program, and it's kind of the Big Five now, isn't it? It's kind of the Big Five. If you're one of the Big Five in the SEC, the Auburns and the Alabamas and the Floridas and you know, the big boys, I'm not positive all 5 of those coaches are going to be fire and brimstone. We got to go win the SEC tournament.
No, they won't.
You know, so that happens in the SEC baseball tournament a lot.
Sure,
I mean, you can just tell by the way the lineup's put together, the effort. You know what? This team wouldn't mind heading out of town on Saturday.
Exactly.
Win a game, go 2-1, go home on Saturday, and get ready for March Madness.
Yeah.
So if everybody played their ass off to win the SEC tournament, Billis is right on it. It would be harder to win that thing, wouldn't it?
I don't think there's any question about that. Listen, when you think about this, for your top 5 SEC teams, I mean, Terry, who in the dickens could they play in the first? Certainly the first to get to the round of 16.
Sure.
There's no way in the world that they're going to play anybody better than the competition
you wouldn't think.
that they played in conference.
You wouldn't think.
I don't listen. Some of those teams in the tournament, Terry, they may not be tested till the Elite Eight.
Well, Brent, I'm going to bring up something I don't know the answer to. That's why I'm asking you. You may or may not know. This is the first year with Texas and Oklahoma in.
Yeah. Right.
Does every team make it in, or do 2 or 4 teams get told you stay home? Because that happens a lot in baseball and basketball. I'm not sure. I haven't looked that far ahead. Shame on me.
I think there's a cutoff somewhere, but that's a great question. That's something we need to check for sure.
We'll check. But yeah, that just hit me. I go, man, are they going to try and squeeze in? Because my spinoff to that was when I was thinking about it. Nowadays, with the expansion of the SEC, that basketball tournament starts on a Tuesday, doesn't it? Don't 4 teams get double byes or something?
I mean, they would have to. And you remember, Terry, the first night of the SEC tournament is you've got like your bottom 4, don't you?
And the 4 teams that get 4 teams get double byes, I think. But it seems like they didn't start until Friday. If you're one of the big boys that gets a double bye, I think all you had to do was win 3 games. You're not going to make an Auburn get a double bye and then have to win Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, are you? What do you see, Zach? Do you see something up there?
Yeah, I see the double bye thing happening. I see all 16 teams playing.
Does the tournament start
Friday, Saturday, Sunday? So it's Wednesday through Sunday.
Okay, so it doesn't start on Tuesday. I thought it had gotten backed up to a Tuesday, so it starts on a Wednesday. If you're one of the top, if you're one of the top 4, you double bye Wednesday, Thursday. You open up Friday.
Correct.
Yeah, because
that's right.
You would never ask a team.
The top 8 seeds get a single bye.
There you go. You would never ask one of the double bye teams. By the way, to win your conference championship, you still have to win 4 games in a row. No, that's not a reward.
No.
Now you should be punished if you're one of the bottom 4 that get in, and you have to play the first night. You should be punished and have to win 5 in a row.
Yeah,
and that's what it is: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Well,
Yeah.
well, and listen, let me offer this to you too. One things they need to do too, they need to get that championship game moved from Sunday to Saturday.
I'm with you.
Terry, tell me what reward
Nope.
that your champion gets by having to play on Sunday, and who knows where you're going to have to travel to.
Yeah.
So how much work are you going to get done the first few days before the tournament?
And that SEC championship is like at 1:00, right?
Yeah. It's been 1:00 on Sunday for years now.
And the selection show is that evening, right?
It's at 5 or 6. Yeah,
5 or 6. So hell, it's not fair. Your team may be in the air when the selection show is going on. That's not fair. Even if you got a sneak phone call and you know where you're going,
right?
And the selection show is part of March Madness.
Well, sure it is.
It really is. Even if the camera's not in your hometown.
Mm-hmm.
I think the selection show, you're supposed to get your team together at the cafe area on campus and serve pizza and have fun and put your travel plans together,
And listen, we've got time for this, either later day or later period. But there's got to be some looking at the schedules again with this situation. And the attrition and so forth that go into it. But look, and it's great for the conference, but I think we're going to be facing issues, maybe, your collateral damage that we're not even thinking about right now for these teams.
Yeah, definitely. All right, one down, one to go. We hope to hook up with Dr. Aaron Bates. Boy, the Micah hand-logged stuff, I want to get his thoughts. Boy, that was a nasty, and there's a special word, I think, when you break a bone and it protrudes through the skin. He had that, but man, he looks healthy. Novak Djokovic, there's some stuff going on with his injury, and I want to ask him about that. And Janai Broom, my goodness, boy, he got on it. We'll talk with Dr. Aaron Bates from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, looking at some sports injuries of note when we come back on the Young and Norvelle Show.
For those dealing with pain from a sports injury, arthritis, or spine condition, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists offers innovative new non-surgical options. Our regenerative medicine treatments, including platelet-rich plasma and other regenerative treatments, use your body's own restorative cells to aid in treating injuries. These procedures are performed in our offices and typically require minimal downtime. If you want to get back to doing what you love, our regenerative treatment options may be right for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jax Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jax Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jax Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jax to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jax in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jax 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms, whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV. You can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jax 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
It's a new logo, new branding. With Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. It's hot, Florida in the summer. You can't do much to avoid it, but you can keep cool with Bold City Heating and Air. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who is coming to your house. You know they will be well trained, and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. Stay cool while it gets hot. Bold City Heating and Air can help. Don't get caught sweating all summer. boldcityac.com, and they have financing to help. New systems starting at $110 a month and $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown.
Let's welcome our good friend, a very good friend of the show, Dr. Aaron Bates, in on Wednesday, his day, his time. Top of the hour, as we've got a bunch of stuff to fire Dr. Bates' way. Dr. Bates, how the heck are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound great, man. You look great. You sound great. You're great,
Awesome.
man.
Awesome. Good deal.
Doc, Brent's with us as well. We got a lot of stuff to fire at you. One thing popped up last week. You've probably answered this on our show. How does HIPAA apply to like major college athletes and professional athletes? Is there some type of language in a scholarship, in a professional contract that kind of says, because, you know, we got talking about it last week, you know, you'll have a coach say, well, Terry Norvelle, we had an MRI and it's showing that, well, is that against HIPAA? Is there language? How does that apply and not trip on the HIPAA guidelines?
Yeah, well, HIPAA is HIPAA. It's universal across the board. So
Okay.
whether you're talking about Joe Blow off the street or you're talking about a professional athlete, HIPAA still applies. And so you have to give permission to give information about your own health information, your own health records, things like that. And then that applies to professional, to college, to high school, all the way down.
So is there something in the contract is there a paragraph that says, by the way, if you sign this contract, you are giving away your HIPAA rights, or no? Is that
No, you don't give up your HIPAA rights. You just give the permission
okay?
to, you know, to talk about it with other folks or to talk about it in public, basically.
Gotcha. I got you. I think Brent, that came up with us last week. We were
No.
talking that around, so let's ask Dr. Bates. Brent Brent got a call today, and you know, in his work as a analyst, he's got feelers out. North Carolina might be snooping around the old SEC tree for the next expansion that's coming down the road, and that's probably the number one program that the SEC wants, and it's kind of understood. I mean, North Carolina checks a lot of boxes. You don't expand by one necessarily. You don't want to get to an a odd number necessarily from a scheduling standpoint. I got asking, and I'm going to ask you, Dr. Bates. You're from the area. Coach Loxley is your buddy. Maryland, that's the dominant school in that state. Big, strong school. If you go by twos, I've never thought Maryland has looked comfortable in the Big Ten. Money is about the same, Big Ten, SEC, so it's not a money thing. Do you think Maryland would be a school that would seriously listen to making a move? You know, because there's going to be we all think there's going to be one more big bang in major college athletic realignment.
Yeah, I mean, I think any school is going to listen to anything.
Sure.
Money, money's involved.
Sure.
I don't know if making a lateral move would help Maryland out as much. I mean, the two conferences still powerhouse conferences, and Maryland's had its struggles in the Big Ten since it's got there. They've done okay throughout the years, and I think Coach Loxley has really brought them from where they really weren't having winning seasons to having winning seasons other than this year. And so I think they would fit well with Big Ten. I think they fit well with SEC. I just don't know if if this is going to be a better fit with the SEC versus the Big Ten. You know,
Brent, what's your thoughts on that? I think Maryland, and I have no inside information. Maryland's always looked like an awkward fit in the Big Ten to me, and I would wonder if the powers that be go, man, we'd fit better in the SEC. Brent, what do you think about that?
I think there's some validity to that. Dr. Bates, what I wanted to ask you too is you're familiar with that area. Terry and I have talked for years, whether it be Virginia Tech, Maryland, whoever. Tell us your recollection. I mean, that's an athlete-rich area, is it not? I mean, they put out a lot of really good football and basketball players. What do you remember about that Virginia, D.C. area as far as big high schools, big athletes, and so forth, and how rich that area is for sports?
Yeah, the DMV is known to put out a lot of great athletes that end up in the pros. The problem is Maryland has a hard time keeping them at home.
Yeah,
they tend to go to Penn State or some of these other schools a little further away. But yeah, I mean it's been consistent in what the high schools have been putting out year over year. But again, I think because. And this is just my theory, because there's so many other things going on as far as professionally there, and you don't have the backing that you have with in Gainesville or in Georgia. They got Atlanta, but they're still kind of out there, so there's a lot of backing money wise with those schools, and now with NIL, it's even harder to compete.
Well, you make a good point right there. That is a real good point. That is a pro sports first. I mean, area, man. I mean, if it's not the Commanders and the Ravens and it's pro
Capitals,
ball,
the Orioles, the Nationals.
It's pro ball, and I know this will be a bad analogy because BC is a small religious-based school, but I mean that'd be like if BC was a big old school and they jumped into the SEC. That'd be cute, but that's not the Patriots. That's not the Celtics. That's not the Red Sox. You know what I mean? And Alabama, Georgia, Florida could be rolling in on a Saturday. They'll put their 34,000 in there probably. And anyway, hey Doc, let's talk some sports medicine. Dr. Bates, obviously one of the leading orthopedic surgeons in our area with Southeast Orthopedic Specialist or Institute. I'm sorry, se-ortho.com. If you've got orthopedic needs. And you don't know where to go, you need some guidance, go to the best, se-ortho.com. That'll guide you to the offices closest to you, and they'll take great care of you. Micah Hanlogden, boy, the ugly injury, the Gators center, who's been out all year. He went down in the SEC championship game very early in the game, which was mid-March, Doc. You remember the injury? A leg fracture. Blood was spotted and on the court, so that means the bone. And I don't remember the words you use when the bone pokes through the skin, but that's
open fracture.
Yeah. Say that again. Say that again.
Open fracture.
Open fracture, and I think you were saying, and as Brent's shaking his head, me too. I think you were saying also that's a infection issue and open air and all that. It's just short of a year. He's been hopping around on the sideline. He's been a great teammate. He's cheered for his team. No brace, I don't think all season, which starts in late November, December. Got cleared to practice. He's been basically cleared to play, and it sounds like it's his eligibility decision and his psychological decision. Doc, is he on a fast track? Is that normal? 11 months or so? Talk about this situation.
Yeah, I mean it's the same injury as Hutchinson had, basically.
Ooh, yeah.
And he was looking to try to come back if they made it to the Super Bowl. That would have been at 4 months.
Wow.
That would have been kind of pushing it, but the bone heals. When you put that rod in there, we call it an intramedullary nail, and it heals by load sharing. And so the bone is pretty much healed at 6 to 8 weeks or so, and it's really just strengthening the muscles around that area because you really haven't been able to do that because you're kind of protecting the fracture. and then getting the lateral movements and the ballistic movement, being able to do the plyometrics and being able to be explosive again. And so, yeah, I mean, I think 10 months is well within the time period to be able to get back. Excuse me. The other example would be Paul George. When he ran into the stanchion, he was playing for the national team. He made a layup or was coming down to block somebody or something like that, and his foot hit awkwardly on the base of the basket, and he had the same injury. And he was able to get back within a year. And so it's a pretty gruesome injury, but bone is going to heal faster than soft tissue, and so I don't see a reason why he wouldn't be able to come back. Now, how good he's going to be when he comes back, that's the big question.
And Brent, I think you've got a question.
Yeah.
He had hand logged in a rod and 2 screws. I guess that's pretty normal. Is what, and that'll stay in there forever.
It's meant to stay in there forever.
It's meant to. And when a fracture, when the bone, 2 sides get back together and they heal, is that just the body is basically soldering itself? It's soldering itself together, the 2 bones, kind of naturally.
You can think of it that way, but the bone is a live organ, so it's always, it's always turning over. The cells are turning over. So you have bone forming cells, or you have bone killing cells, or osteoblasts and osteoclasts, and they produce and kill off osteocytes, which are the mature bone cell. And so that, even in you and me, and without fractures, those are always turning over. Okay, and so when you have a fracture, though, it kind of disrupts that a little bit. But then your body responds when the bone is put together, and you have maybe more of the bone forming cells and less of the bone killing cells, but they're still very active, and they create this environment to make new bone. And so with all fractures, there's always a race of the fracture healing, and whatever device you put in there, whether it's plates and screws or an intermedullary narrow rod or whatever, of that failing, because that is man-made. So if the bone never heals, there is no doubt that device will fail at some point, because it'll fail by fatigue.
Wow. Brent, go ahead if you've got one.
Yeah, Dr. Bass, Jedi Broom is probably the best player in the SEC in basketball, plays for Auburn. He had a low ankle sprain, was out for maybe 10 days or so.
Yeah, man.
Actually played over the weekend. A couple of questions here. If you've got a situation like that with an ankle sprain, is there a rule of thumb as far as how long treatment goes on? And the second question would be, what do you advise your patients who are getting over something like that and keep them from doing it again?
So the biggest thing is there a rule of thumb. I mean, there are guidelines as to what athletic trainers and docs follow for certain grades of ankle injuries, ankle sprains, things like that, whether it's a lower ankle sprain or a lower grade ankle sprain versus a high ankle sprain and things like that. And whether, we can treat them non-operatively, and if we do treat them non-operatively, how long does it take to come back, and the things that we do for functional rehab to get them back. There are some guidelines there, but there's no particular rule saying, okay, this person could be back in 5 days because of this injury, this person can be back in 10 days because of this injury, because everybody's different. And so, and I forgot the second question. What were you saying?
Yeah. The second question is what is there any advice that you give your patients to keep from repeating it?
Right. The biggest thing is keeping the muscles around the joint that's been sprained strong. And so there's certain care you have to take to do that. And so just going back to plan, once you recover, that's not enough. You got to continue with the rehab exercises to continue to strengthen and get the proprioception back in that extremity, so that you know where your foot is in space and things like that. So you can kind of get back to your lateral movements, cutting, pivoting, jumping, and all of that.
Is there an exercise you can do to strengthen your ankle area from rolling or make that area stronger? Or
there are certain exercises that you can do to help prevent it.
Okay.
But you're talking about dynamic stabilizers of the ankle. The static stabilizers, like the ligaments, there's no true exercises to strengthen the ligaments, because ligaments just are tissue that attach bone to bone. They don't really have anything to do with the muscle, but the muscles and tendons around the joint help protect those ligaments somewhat.
Doc, when you talk about a bone is fractured, it's obviously cracked, and I'm assuming there's at least a little space between the two parts, right? There's a little space between.
Well, it could be. It depends. It depends if it's a non-displaced or displaced fracture.
When there is, are you trying to smash those two back together as tight as you can, or do you get them close and let the body fill in the little, make a little bridge, to fill in the gap? Or do you smash them?
That depends on whether we're treating something with surgery versus something that we're treating with a cast or a brace or something like that. If we're treating it without surgery, we just trying to kind of get it close, right? So because you haven't disrupted the blood supply at all by making an incision, so you're just trying to get it close so that environment is good enough to make more bone in that area. It'll develop something called callus, which is kind of new bone formation. They look kind of cloudy and whatnot. And then over time, that gets harder and that starts to solidify.
So callus is good in that case.
Callus is really good.
Yeah. Women don't want calluses on their hands, but callus in your bone is good. It's good.
Right.
Doc, the 2 years you've been doing this with me and Patrick and Brent, our line of questioning, is it first year medical student level, or is it a couple of idiots playing that operation game and the nose goes? What area do you think we would land in?
Well, that's kind of on a continuum. You got the simplest of questions to the stuff that's really, pretty good questions that I think need to be, answered and that the audience can kind of relate to.
Getting serious again, Novak Djokovic, the great tennis player, he pulled himself out of the Australian Open over the weekend, and real controversy. He's had a couple of tournaments where he's pulled himself out. I heard thigh tear, then I'm hearing hammy, but a couple of things he said that he was doing to get back before he had to pull out, and maybe these were just abbreviations. Heavy strapping, I don't really know what that is, and then he included something, and I don't know if this is shorter for a big word, physio, Physio, heavy strapping and physio. I didn't know what in the hell is that. Is that European talk, or what is all that?
Exactly. Yeah, it's more European type of way to say physical therapy. They call it physiotherapy.
See there, Brent. I heard you laughing at me when I said that, Brent. Don't laugh at me. You're the operations guy. He's walking out.
Yeah.
Go ahead though. Is that seriously short for a European term?
It is. Yeah. They're just talking about physical therapy, basically.
Okay. I had no idea.
Rehab. You're talking about rehab.
I had no idea what that is. Heavy strapping, is that just...
And the strapping is pretty much wrapping.
Okay.
You saw that wrap that he had kind of on his thigh to kind of keep it all compressed. That kind of helped him play that first set before he's like, this is not going my way.
I don't know if you heard the final piece came out on this. He obviously pulled out of a very prestigious tournament. He's one of the great that ever played it. When he pulled out, when he was injured and looked like he was coming out, McEnroe, I think it was John, not Patrick, I think it was John McEnroe, was the analyst. And John McEnroe had some real kind of questionable comments toward, we've seen this before. I'm not so sure he's, almost implying like, did our boy think he wasn't going to win? And, but what happened later, Doc, this was the interesting part. And I don't know if it was later that afternoon, a couple hours later, but it made it sound like at the presser, obviously Djokovic had to go meet with the press at some point and talk about, I'm sorry, I hated to pull myself out of this. He shows up with his MRI. And at the end, he goes, I'm going to leave this here. And the word, that was, he wasn't happy. And basically, hey, McEnroe, Hey, ass clown, get your stuff right. He showed up and left, and I guess that takes care of HIPAA. He said he basically, wow. I don't know if you heard that part of the story.
No, I think vaguely heard it, but yeah, I mean, it's almost like, like somebody's trying to tell him that, trying to say that he didn't give it his all and he didn't want to do it. I mean, these are professional guys,
he basically was called
best in the world.
Yeah.
And he lost the first set in the tiebreak.
Yeah.
It's not like he got, crushed, 6-1 or something like that. I mean, I don't question his effort. But yeah, that was interesting that he went and did that. And I mean, obviously he's the one that put it up there, so there really is no,
absolutely. I was just kind of kidding with that. But McEnroe, he matured from the hothead, but he should know better than that. I mean, he was in those shoes for years and all. He basically called Djokovic a quitter.
Yeah.
And that's
unfortunate.
That at that level, man, and if I don't know, Doc, as we let you go, did you fix a bunch of shoulders, knees? Were you in some ankles today? What did we fix up?
No, I don't know if you heard, but I had to get my rotator cuff repaired, so I haven't been operating over the last 3 weeks.
That's right. You're fixing your wing. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I hope you got those wings and those hands insured, my man.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I got another couple weeks before I can get back to it, though.
Oh man, that's how did you do that, or do you know, or was it cumulative, or was it one time, or?
Yeah, I think it was cumulative. I think falling while skiing or snowboarding, and then playing basketball all the time, falling and working out and things like that, and playing golf, and I had a tear that was just getting larger and larger. It was just time to get it done.
Doc, I love you, but you're not 25 anymore, my man.
You're right. You're right.
I love you.
I didn't get this gray for nothing,
Did wifey say anything like that too, honey? I know you enjoy staying in shape and all, but ain't 25 no more.
Right. She tells me all the time. She reminds me almost every week.
Now wait a minute. Are you a good patient, Brent? I got to ask him. Are you a good patient? Are you doing your rehab? Are you eating your green vegetables?
I think I am the best patient ever. Some may not agree with me, but yeah.
Serious question at the end. How, I don't know, awkward or how is it a sticky wicket for a surgeon to work on another surgeon?
Oh, I'm sure that there's definitely more stress involved.
Yeah.
Probably. Because it's almost like working on your own family member, and obviously you're probably seeing somebody that and so you want to do the best job that you can. Like you want to do the best job with everyone, but you typically going to see this person all the time, and so I mean from that standpoint, and everybody has complications, and so some surgeries don't go as well. And so,
Brent, that's kind of
not the one that you have to see all the time.
In the sports world, Brent, that's like if you're the head coach and you make a living on a whiteboard drawing up plays for your team and drawing up plays and you're going over stuff. Well, that's one thing. You're doing that to your team. If you're asked to go to the coaches convention and you got a whole room full of your peers that are on your same level, and you're drawing that stuff up. Doc, did you not question, but did you work on your own diagnosis? Hey, let me see the MRI, and
Oh yeah. I already knew I had it, and I'd seen MRIs, and and then once I decided I needed it done, because this is what I do. Today I need it done.
Brent, I don't buy this. I think if wifey came on here, I said, is he a bad patient? Is he? Hey, I know the one wing is out, but the other wing, he's ringing that bell. I need some ice cream. Can you fluff my pillow?
What about it?
Yes, exactly.
Did you, Doc? Did you try to do it with get well with therapy and so forth, and just finally reach the point?
Good question.
Reach the point where you had to do something more than that?
Yeah, I did. I did some therapy. I had a couple of cortisone injections. I had a platelet-rich plasma injection, and I kind of gave it as much time as I could. And sometimes you just have to bite the bullet. And it certainly affects your life. I mean, it's a good thing for me to go through it too, just to see what my patients go through. I think.
Yeah.
I think it may help me be a
what a doc.
Doc.
What a doc he is. What a doc this guy is. Huh? All right, buddy. Heal well. How long is your rehab? You think? What's the?
The rehab will be months, but I'm just looking forward to get back into operating in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully all that goes well, and things will continue to recover well like they are.
Good luck. Good luck. Good luck to you, of course, and good luck to wifey. Putting up with that bell ringing every few minutes. Thanks, Doc. Good stuff as always.
All right, guys. You guys have a great week.
You too, buddy. That is our buddy, Dr. Bates. Brent, you made a rebound, man. That was a good question at the end. You rebounded.
Yes.
I heard you laugh at one of mine, though. I heard you laugh.
Well, I laugh because I'd have probably said the same thing. Yes.
I have feelings too, You know that, right?
You do.
I mean, I have feelings too,
Yeah, that's right.
And it's getting near Valentine's Day, my birthday. I have feelings
That's right.
too, Brent.
Hey,
okay.
It's like I tell my daughters, hey, I'm sitting here, I'm listening.
Yeah, hey, right here.
That doesn't make any difference, though.
Yeah, your daughter's on the phone. I don't know. My dad's, he's just being difficult. Kendall, I'm right here.
Yeah,
I'm in the house.
Yeah. That's right.
I don't know. I'm gonna try and get $100 from him. I don't know. He's probably going to be selfish and not give it to me.
And by the way, congratulations to you and her and future husband.
How about that? Yeah, I don't know if I said that on the air. I posted it up. Yeah, my daughter got my daughter got engaged about 2 Fridays ago, and I know we need to get a break, and I don't want to let out all the family details, but I was told, because the young man, you'll appreciate this, the young man went old school. Have I told you a story? I'll tell it real quick, but I'm really proud. Number one, I like her fiance a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Nice young man, nice clean cut, like the family a lot. My daughter calls me about a week before Christmas, and I'm going to air it because I'm proud of my daughter and all, but so she says, Dad, me and Andrew, we want to take you to Topgolf, and she's moved out. They live together, and she's moved out, and they've decided they're obviously they're going to spend their life together, but they hadn't done it the next step yet. Mm-hmm. So we don't see each other as much, and it bugs me a little bit. She's not living under my roof anymore, and that deal. So she said, Dad, we want to take you to Topgolf, and this was like the week before Christmas. I was like, oh, that's great. So we go, the three of us, and we have a great time. Just have a big time, and we're hitting the golf balls and eating and drinking, just having a good time.
Sure.
So at one point, Kendall, my daughter, goes to the restroom, and I don't think nothing of it, right? I have not thought this through at all.
Yeah.
And Andrew walks over to me. Brent looks me eye to eye, extends his hand, and with a firm handshake says, Mr. Norvelle, I would like to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's still in, but I appreciated it like you couldn't
Absolutely.
believe. And my first answer, I said, well, number one, I really appreciate that, because I did. And
Absolutely.
Like I said, firm handshake, look me eye to eye. And number two, I said, you have 200% of my permission. I said, I know Kendall loves you. And he said, this is man to man, and I know Andrew, but we don't. He said, I love your daughter. I love your daughter. And I said, that makes me happy, obviously, and I like your family, and I know I've been around the family, and they love my daughter. So it was great. It was great, and I'm letting more stuff out. So she was still in the restroom, right? So I said, okay, well, congratulations. I said, does she know? Have you asked? And he said, no. He said, I've got the ring. He says, I've got the ring, and I'm thinking Christmas, maybe New Year's. Okay, so that's fine. And so I've got to keep that secret, which is a horrible thing to do to me, right? Because, Brent, I talk a lot.
Yeah. We talk for a living, Terry.
Yeah. So I tell my sister, and I tell some friends, and I say, hey, keep this quiet. But they're not going to run into Kendall, right? So I tell some friends, well, Christmas comes and goes. Nothing. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. A couple weeks go by between Christmas and New Year's, and these friends are starting to ask me, hey, is your daughter engaged yet? I said, no. It got to the point New Year's came and nothing, and I'm getting asked by everybody that I've told.
Yeah.
And I swear, Brent, my answer started being, well, maybe I dreamed this. I thought, so then they all go, Andrew's mother, her birthday was like very early January, and they went to the Carolina Mountains and as a family, and so they come, I go, there beautiful snowy during all the snow time.
Right.
They get back. I still hear nothing. And like the day they got back, they all went to a dinner because they all live in the St. Augustine area.
Mm-hmm.
They all went to a dinner, and later that evening, I get pictures of a ring.
All right.
And he had it set up where it was on the water in St. Augustine, like a sidewalk, and you can see the water, beautiful. And he's on one knee. One of the family members is across the street up high, taking a picture. So he told somebody to take the picture. He's on a knee asking her, so they've got that too. So yeah, how about that?
And a big question remains is that I assume the dog knows too.
Yes. All the dogs, all the animals are in agreement. They've all signed up. They've all signed. And Brent, you've gone through this a couple times, right?
I have, yes.
Yeah. So we'll see. Next spring of 26 maybe, and I'm not sure if it's going to be a formal wedding, if they're going to go get married and come back, which I would support. And
Here's
$1,000.
You better believe you'll support that.
Hey, I'm leaning that way, and we'll talk here in the next week or two. But I'm leaning. Well, here's $1,000 to get a couple of plane tickets.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this: a lot of couples, regardless of the age, they are basically having a very small, intimate wedding, and spending some money on a reception for their family and friends, which gets wiser and wiser every day. As far as
I agree. Well, I was about to throw that at you. It seems like, and you're more in tune, kind of what you do for a living and things like that, than I am. But it seems like the traditional big pomp and circumstance wedding is going away for more of a maybe go away, come back.
Yeah,
married. Some people, which I heard this is a pain to the guest. Some people have destination weddings, and they invite, and a lot of people don't like that. It's like, I don't want to give up a week. I love you to death, but so anyway, I'll support her anyway. But man, if it was up to me, here's $1,000. Your mom can give you some. Y'all go. You go. You can set up something nice and get pictures and all. Come back, and we'll all have a little party and.
Oh yeah, and I've got my youngest daughter's about to have her first child in March.
Ooh! So
I'm hoping.
That'll be your first? No, you got a grandbaby already.
Yeah. I've got one who's 10.
Yeah, you got that.
Now, Terry, what would really be helpful here would be to have that child the weekend of the SEC tournament in March, or have that child later on in the month.
If only, right? If only.
Yeah.
If only. All right.
It's not all about me, okay?
Let's take one more break. Brent, we've probably got some meat still on the bone. You've got a few things, I'm sure. The Bronny James stuff I wanted to get to real quick. What a mess with Bronny James and the Lakers and LeBron holding the whole franchise hostage now for his own satisfaction. We'll get to that and a lot more. We're cruising through Hump Day edition, Wednesday edition of the Young and Norvelle Show. Coming back for the final segment on Action Sports Jax. Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jax Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jax Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jax Beach.
For over 20 years, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has been providing the highest level of orthopedic and spine care to patients throughout Northeast Florida. Now, we're making that same great care even more convenient with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Direct, a walk-in clinic where you can be seen for pain or injuries with no appointment needed. Staffed by orthopedic physicians and specialists, we offer everything from diagnosis and treatment to imaging and bracing, all with no appointment needed. For more information, hours, and locations, visit our website.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dynamic Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jax to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jax in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jax 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms, whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV. You can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jax 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
Summertime means sizzling sales at Nimnick Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Nimnick never charges above MSRP. You can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%.
You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnick Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer.
You can schedule a test drive at NimnickBuickGMC.com, and while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnick is there for you, even on Sundays. Visit the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
So, 0 for 5, 3 turnovers, 15 minutes, and the player he guarded scored at will, from what I understand. Welcome back. Terry Norvelle here. We got Brent Beaird on the show as well. Those were the numbers. Did you hear Bronny James, as we welcome you back, closing down the show here, final segment. Bronny James, who's been in the G League, right, the developmental league, since the opening game where he got to stand on the court with LeBron for whatever reason to say they were the two.
Yeah.
Right? So he goes to the G League. He gets called up last night. The Lakers call him up, right? I guess they had an injury, but he's not the guy to call up. So he has this terrible 15 minutes. And Brent, you wonder why or how or I got to believe that had to be a miscommunication with the travel guy for the Lakers, right? I got to believe the Laker guy, when they said they were going to call Bronny was getting called up, he must have called Bronny's cell phone and said something like, hey, Bronny, we need you to go ahead and get an airplane, get to the airport. Just go ahead and buy a ticket. We'll reimburse you. We need you to get to the NBA. And we'll reimburse you, but if you can't, and I got to believe it was cutting in and out, right, the phone. So he was saying, again, just get to the airport. You got to get on a plane because you're en route to cutting in and out. You're going to the NBA. Yeah. And he heard NBA, but what cut out was the W. I think he was being sent to the WNBA, Brett. And I think it got cut out, and Bronny went straight to the no, not the NBA, the WNBA.
Boy, this has just not worked, has it, Terry? Listen, and we talked about this months ago. The best thing Bronny could have done was to stay in college, and develop. And listen, he wasn't even the best player on his team in college.
No, I think the best thing he could have done was maybe play baseball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or study accounting. Or something.
Yeah. But what you're saying is last night didn't help him, did it?
No. And again, man, I bet there were. I don't know where the game was at, if it was in L.A., but even the home fans, I bet there were cat calls. The poor kid, I feel bad for him. He's not supposed to be there. Anyway, that's. I think they wanted him to go to the WNBA LA site. Hey, every time we have Dr. Bates on, this is me. I mean, that guy's smart, isn't he? He makes you think. He makes you think.
Really does.
All right, Brent, what do you got? I got a couple things left. What do you got? You got anything?
Let me roll through. Oh yeah, let me roll a few. But by the way, Tim Banks has a new contract at Tennessee. He's the D coordinator.
Yeah.
It's a 3-year deal. I bring that up because there's been some talk about Banks maybe going somewhere else. Monday, Josh Heupel has been at Tennessee 4 years.
I know. I saw that.
Can you believe that?
Boy, that's gone by. That's gone by quick. I also saw. Did you see where? And I don't know much about the guy. I know the name a little bit. Chris Ash will replace Al Golden as the defensive coordinator.
In Notre Dame,
at Notre Dame. Boy, Al Golden did a good job. That's a classic.
He really did.
That's a classic. Some people are assistant coaches and some people are head coaches. He did a really, really nice job. Anything else, Brent?
He went to the Bengals, by the way.
Yeah.
And with that, I tell you another thing going on, Terry, or these they call them general managers.
Yeah.
For college teams now.
Yeah.
And the thing you're seeing is, and we've got this in the notes that we share, is at least 5 colleges now have general managers making at least $700,000.
How about that?
I mean that's more, Terry. That's more than the on the field staff make almost.
Woo. Oh, a bunch of them. Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. It makes you wonder if you've got a law degree now. And you're not really sure what you want to do, would that be a pretty good thing? Would that be a pretty good career to go into?
Yeah, you like sports a little bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
And believe it or not, a week from today is National Signing Day.
I know. I think there's 2 or 3 big fish out there that did not quite get signed. I think there's a couple that'll happen. But man, I do miss, this is old man, get off my lawn. I do miss that first Wednesday of February.
I do too.
It was covered because it was the only day. It was 8 a.m. rolled around till about 7 p.m. Man, those fax machines were humming because that's how it came in on those fax machines. Remember?
We have great stories about that we've covered over the years. We haven't even, you and I haven't talked about Bubba Spurrier going to Florida.
Yeah, it's a little dicey here. I got some backstory on that. As a offensive analyst, I think that's a great move. Bubba Spurrier, Steve Spurrier Jr. is a qualified coach. He knows offense.
He is.
He worked under his dad. He learned football. He was under Mike Leach at 2 or 3 different stops. Yeah. Bubba is a legitimate offensive mind.
Right.
I have heard that it got out before it's official.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and since you brought it up, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Yeah. I hope it still happens. But I don't know if there were contractual things or dates and stuff.
Right.
But I heard it got out early. And I'm not, you brought it up, and I wanted to just follow up. I think that would be a massive, good hire by Napier if he lets him do his job. Because Bubba Spurrier is going to come in. If he comes to Florida with his background, he's going to be one of those, really a coach, not an analyst.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No doubt. And that's what he wants to be anyway.
Sure.
I mean, it's been out in a couple of reports.
Yep. And the reports are all early.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I heard over the weekend that it's not a done deal, and it's not great that it slipped out.
Yeah. Unfortunately, or you Are you surprised at all about Shane Beamer's contract?
A hell of a turnaround in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
A hell of a turnaround. They need to go play good now and make sure it's not a one-off.
Yeah.
I mean, tip of the hat. I always have thought he's kind of an assistant coach. He's a coordinator more than a head guy. And I think he still needs to mature into the position.
Sure.
He's still a little young. He's a young Dabo. Remember Dabo early in his career?
Mm-hmm.
He jumped around too much and was Dabo, idle down a little bit. You don't look very authoritative like that. You look hot-headed. I think Beamer's got some maturing to do, but if he can keep his nose above water, he can mature as the head coach, and maybe it'll turn out long term.
Making $8 million now in the league, which has put him probably about the midway point, which is to tell you how much money has been. This was an odd hire that probably a lot of people haven't seen yet, but Lance Guidry, who was on the Miami staff last year and ranked 68th in the country, which is nothing to be jumping up and down about, is actually going to LSU and is going to be on that defensive staff too. There are just some things you see that you kind of shake your head about.
Sometimes these coaches, man, in the NFL or college, they get in the loop and they can't get out of the loop.
Some of them fall forward too.
Fall forward. They try to get themselves out of the loop and they can't.
Yeah.
Hey, Brent, you brought up a good point. The next 4 games for Florida, if they were to go 2-2, would you take it? Hell yeah, I'd take it. I threw this out yesterday, and this won't happen. This is a tall chore. But Florida's sitting 5th in the country, right? They're 5th in the country, been sitting there a couple, 2-3 weeks. Iowa State got beat last week. And the next poll that comes out, Florida will probably jump ahead of them if they win Saturday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this plays in. If Florida was to win their next 3 games, at Tennessee, Vandy at home, at Auburn the following Saturday, Florida would be the number 1 team in the country. I think. I think they could jump Duke if you went Tennessee, Vandy, Auburn. You knock off Auburn,
right?
I think they would jump to number 1. Not that it matters because you have a playoff,
right? Especially if you beat Auburn,
sure.
Who is the number 1 team right now?
And by the way, if that happened, if Florida jumped to number 1, they'd get beat by Mississippi State the next week, probably.
Don't you know they would? You absolutely know they would.
Yes.
Oh yeah, but see, that's the problem in this league right now. It's like Alabama, Ole Miss. They just walked on the court and thought they were going to be great.
Yep.
And by the way,
that's how Auburn's going to lose their first one too. Somebody's going to catch them on a hot night. Hey, anything new on the Mark Sears stuff? I know. Does Alabama have a midweek game this week?
Oh, they've got Mississippi State tonight at 9 o'clock in Starkville.
Right. That's right. Ooh, that's tough. Anything new on the Mark Sears benching and where that's at, or is it done now?
It's over, and I think he'll start tonight. But here's what happened with that, and I give Nate Oates a lot of credit. Mark in the game where he was benched this weekend against LSU, started 0 from 5 from the floor. And then he basically played a lot of matador defense.
So he pouted.
Yeah. So what happened is he takes him out. They go in at halftime. And then he's on the bench for the rest of the half.
Yeah, benched him the entire half. They probably had some words in the locker room a little bit.
Probably. But to Mark's credit,
sports, man. And that's sports.
He is.
Right.
To Mark's credit, Nate Oates said he had the best practices almost of his career Monday and Tuesday.
And Sears will go out and put 30 up tonight.
He will. Now look.
He's fun to watch, man.
Now here's the other bit of this that you'll appreciate greatly. Mama Sears.
Oh boy.
Mama Sears was not happy with all this.
No.
So Mama Sears decided she's going on Facebook. So and it was okay, but as far as what she wrote, but Terry, and things like that. and look, you've seen his mother in the crowd.
Yeah,
she's got the jeweled purse, and when he shoots free throws, she's shooting free throws with him. But Terry, I know it's hard, but at some point, parents need to stay out of stuff.
And Mark Sears is not only a college athlete. He's been at Alabama. He's probably 22, 23 years old.
Well, this is his 5th year there.
Yeah, he's not 17, 18 freshman.
No.
By the way, as we get out of here, Brent, great job as always. We hope to hear from you Friday, like normal.
Yes.
If anybody out there watching is interested in becoming the next head coach of the New Orleans Saints, I think they've got an open application. You can go to saints.com, and I think they're going to close it out tonight at midnight, and they're just going to, I think, throw a no. Does anybody want that job?
Terry, between the Saints and the Cowboys, could they make any more bizarre hirings than what they've done?
The most bizarre thing about the Cowboys, and we've got 50 seconds left, some of the things Jerry Jones said.
Really?
And Shoddy was sitting right there. He's going, something like, his resume is all over the place, but I like that. I like that about it. He said all kind of wacky things.
But Terry, here's the thing: the media goes to Jerry after the game, not the head coach. And the other reality is, Jerry's got like a radio show. I mean, listen, at some point, Terry, who's running the show? I think we know that, don't we?
Isn't that great? Isn't that great? More money than sense.
Yes.
More money than sense.
Yes.
Get out of here, Brandon. Enjoy basketball. I'll be watching as well. We'll talk about it tomorrow. And then, of course, on Friday. He is Brent Beaird. I want to thank Dr. Bates, also Zach Rothrock. We'll get together tomorrow, 4 o'clock, for the Young and Norvelle Show.
Visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
The Action Sports Jax 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Weber, and I'm here to teach you a nice 3-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming from the Brent and Austin Show every weekday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News Jax app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports Jax 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device. You're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News Jax Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC